I started trading 7 years ago and I tried so many different scalping strategies. It took me 3 years to learn and perfect how to scalp profitably. And now I only trade less than 90 minutes a day. In this video, I'm going to share the exact scalping schedule and strategy I use every day. This strategy doesn't require hours of pre-market prep, making you overanalyze and second guess your trades. Instead, I follow a simple 3-step checklist to enter a trade, and after about 90 minutes, I'm done the day. So in this video, I'm going to go through the full course on my simple A+ scalping strategy. This is the same strategy that has helped me have consistent results in the market and that I use on a daily and consistent basis. Now, before we get into the video, one thing I want to make very clear is it took me 3 years to become profitable. Trading is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Trading is a long-term journey, and I personally went through the trials and tribulations myself. And therefore, the goal of this video is to teach you the one proven and simple strategy that I use on a consistent basis for profitability. So what is the strategy? For this strategy, all you need is one candle. Now, you may be thinking, how is one candle enough to build a profitable system? Well, this one candle is called the first candle strategy, and this is the exact strategy that we're going to talk about today. For this strategy, it requires a 3-step simple entry model, and we're going to go through all these steps in this video along with real examples so you'll be able to understand exactly how the strategy works. I'm not only going to show you the wins with this strategy, but also the losses. Step 1 is simple. All we want to do is draw out the high and low of the first 15-minute candle. Now, the first 15-minute candle for me will open up at 9:30 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. The candle that actually forms in this time frame is what we want to draw out the high up here, and we want to draw out the low. Now, one thing that is very important to mention, whether you're trading Forex, crypto, futures, options, or stocks, this strategy works for different markets, but the time frame will always remain the same. And that is going to be the New York Open, which happens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and the first 15-minute candle forms by 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Once we have that first 15-minute candle drawn, you can see here the first 15-minute candle is drawn. Then we go to the 5-minute time frame and we wait for a breakout. Here you can see we're actually on the 5-minute time frame, and because we were first on the 15-minute time frame, you can see there's 3 candles. So bar 1, bar 2, and bar 3. On these 3 bars, you can see that we're within the 15-minute range. But now we're simply waiting for the stock to break above the 15-minute range on the 5-minute or break below the 15-minute range on the 5-minute as well. Now, the reason we do this, the 15-minute time frame for scalping is just too high of a time frame to actually scalp on. However, on the 5-minute, this is a good enough indication that when buyers do bring this stock back above the high, that there is more demand in the stock than supply, or there is more buyers in the stock than sellers. And this proves to me that the stock does indeed want to move to the upside because buyers were able to close a candle above. And it's very important when I say wait for a breakout that we wait for a candlestick to close above the 15-minute range. If you don't understand how to wait for candlestick closures, or you want to understand price action a little bit better, I have a full in-depth playlist that will help you go from a beginner trader to an advanced trader for absolutely free. So you can watch it after this video. And for the downside, we want to see a candle closure as well. And if that happens, that means that sellers are now overpowering buyers, and we want to look for a short position. So you can see step 2, all we're doing is really confirming where the market wants to head, and this way we'll get a higher probability entry. Now, for step 3 and the final step, we go over to the 1-minute time frame. On the 1-minute time frame, we now want to enter the pullback. The first 15-minute range was here. We then got that 5-minute candle closure above, and now because we're on the 1-minute time frame, all we're looking for is the stock to retest back into the 15-minute range, and then we would enter in on this 1-minute retest for the move back to the upside. Now, it's important to mention for the downside, it would be the exact same thing. We would wait for the candle closure below this level and then look for a pullback into this previous 15-minute low, looking for continuation to the downside. I trade from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. Eastern. Now, typically I trade till 10:30. That is where 90% of my trades are taken. However, I do give myself that 30-minute runway until 11 a.m. just so if a trade is playing out, I can potentially trade that as well. Therefore, for this setup to work, I only trade from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. So just in summary, you can see how simple this 3-step entry model is, whether you're a beginner trader or an advanced trader. Step 1, we draw the high and low of the 15-minute candle. Step 2, we go to the 5-minute time frame and we wait for a breakout. Step 3, we enter the pullback. If we broke above the 15-minute, then we're looking for that long position. If we broke below the 15-minute, then we're looking for the short position. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, if this strategy is truly this simple, is it profitable? Well, so far, I've talked to you about the first candle strategy. I've explained exactly how it works. I've explained the 3 steps that I use to get precise entries and exits on my trades without any guesswork. It is a simple yet systematic way to enter trades. And I also told you the correct timeframes to look at to filter the A+ trades as well. Now, to really see how this setup works, we need to go look at real trading examples. I'm going to show you a full 1 week of trading the strategy, and this way you'll see the wins and losses if you only traded this one strategy for 1 week. So by the end of the video, not only will you understand the strategy because we will go through many examples, but you'll also understand if it's profitable, unprofitable. So let's get into the real examples. So first, I want to show you an A+ example of exactly what you should be looking for the first candle strategy. And then I'm going to show you exactly what happens if you trade this one strategy for 1 whole week. One thing that's important to remember is we can never guarantee anything with trading. Trading is all a probability-based game. However, one thing we can do is increase our probability of winning trades by following our systematic plan and following a simple setup that has been proven to show results over a long period of time. So with this in mind, on this first example, you can see we are on the 15-minute time frame. On the 15-minute time frame, all we have to do is wait for the first candle to form. In this example, you can see a very bullish candle. And now we simply go over to the 5-minute time frame. On the 5-minute time frame, we're going to mark out the 15-minute high and we're going to mark out the 15-minute low. What we're waiting for now is going to be a break above the 15-minute time frame on the 5-minute time frame, or a break below the 15-minute range on the 5-minute time frame as well. Then on the 1 minute, we're simply waiting for the retest and continuation to the upside. So let's see if we get this breakout on the 5-minute time frame. And right here on this candle, we didn't get that 5-minute breakout, but on the next candle at 9:50, we have now broken above the 15-minute range. This now proves to me that buyers are stepping up above this 15-minute or the first candle strategy. And now all we're looking for is going to be the pullback into this retest level for the move back to high of day and continuation. Let's go over to the 1-minute time frame. Here we are on the 1-minute time frame, and all we're looking for now is simply the pullback into that 15-minute opening range. Let's see if we can get that proper retest back into this level. And just like that, you can see we marked out the 15-minute range. We broke above that 15-minute range on the 5-minute time frame. We then came over to the 1-minute time frame, and now we are retesting with strong price action. And therefore, we can now look to go long on this trade. Our stop loss is simply going to be a break below this down close candle, because we know if we break below, then we're going to go back into the 15-minute range, and our profit target is going to be high of day. Now, one thing that's important to mention is every time I'm entering a trade, it needs to be a 2R multiple. All a 2R multiple means is for every $100 of risk that I'm putting on a trade, I need to make $200 of profit. It is that simple. Now, because I trade options and futures, I'm not actually trading the underlying stock, and therefore I don't need as much capital to make the same 2R multiple that I would if I was just trading shares, and that's important to understand. Let's enter into a buy position here, and let's see exactly what happens on this trade. Here you can see before 11 a.m., so around 92 minutes into the day, we were 2 minutes over our 90-minute time frame. We are now done the day, $720 if you were able to understand how to execute this setup. Now that I've shown you a full in-depth example, let's go over a 1-week backtesting session and show you exactly what would happen if you traded this one setup over a week period. And at the end of the video, I'll show you the full results over that 1-week period. Okay, so we're going to do this full backtesting session on Tesla. Here we are on the first example. This is the 15-minute time frame. All we have to do on the 15-minute time frame is mark out the high of the 15-minute candle, and we're going to mark out the low of the 15-minute candle. Now we switch over to the 5-minute time frame, and all we have to do is wait for a candle to break above or below the 15-minute first candle. Let's see if we can get that candle close above or below this 15-minute range. Now, one of the beauties of this strategy is it will help you avoid all the noise in between the 15-minute range. In this specific day here, you can see it's 11 o'clock, so the time that we usually trade, it's already over. First example on the first day, and this is exactly why I'm doing a full 1-week backtesting session to show you the real results of what would happen. You can see that this day we just consolidated. Not only were we able to avoid a loss by understanding this strategy and not trading in between this noise in here, but at the same time, because it's 11 o'clock and we're done, we have no FOMO. We didn't have any confusion. We didn't have to second guess our trades. We simply know that the 5-minute did not break above or below. It's a low probability day, and now we move on over to the next day. That is truly how simple I like my trading to be. 0 trades on this day, therefore $0 P&L. Let's go over to the next day. On this day, you can see the 15-minute candle has opened up, and you can see how strong and bullish the first 15-minute candle is. And because of this, what does this tell me? This tells me that most likely I will be looking for a bullish case scenario on this name, and I will actually be looking for a move to the upside. We now move over to the 5-minute time frame, and on the 5-minute time frame, I'm simply looking for a break above. Let's play out this trade. Let's see if we get that break above on the 5-minute, and just like that, you can see we got that break above. It's important to remember the candle has to close above the 15-minute first candle, and now we can hop on over to the 1-minute time frame. Now I'm simply looking for a pullback back into this area for continuation back to the upside. That is all I'm looking for. Every single time and every single day, I am repeating the same systematic 3 steps, and it's boring, but this is exactly what helped me become a profitable trader. You can see we are now coming back and retesting. Strong breakout on the 5-minute, retest on the 1-minute, buyer stepping in on this candle as well, and therefore this is where I would enter the trade. Now, I'm looking for a long position. For this trade, we need to understand where to put our stop loss as well. For this example, we can see this down close candle. Now, I have a full in-depth video on this in the playlist in the description. All you need to understand is down close candles in an uptrend support price to the upside. Vice versa, up close candles in a downtrend support price to the downside. So our stop loss is simply going to be a break below the down close candle. And like I said, we always need at least a 2R multiple. High of day would not give that to us, and therefore our next profit target would be the 335 whole psychological number. So you can see how systematically we created this trade. Now all we have to do is enter the trade, and let's see exactly what happens. You can see a little bit of sellers stepping in, but that's exactly why we have the correct market structure and the correct stop loss. And just like that, you can see we just hit our profit target up here. This was a $1,990 trade if we understood and executed this one strategy. So with this being said, this is the first trade that we took this week. Let's go over to the next day. All right, so you can see our executions from the previous day. We are now on the next day here. All we're going to do is open up the first candle, and we can see on the 15-minute time frame, this first candle is actually bearish. So previously on the previous day, you can see this first candle was actually a very bullish candle, and therefore we went long. And on this day, it really shows me that we may have more bearish action, and we're looking for that short side movement. So let's go over to the 5-minute and actually wait for the stock to break below the 15-minute to prove that it is weak. And in this example, it does. And now all we have to do is move over to the 1-minute time frame, and all we're looking for now is simply a retest back into this level for continuation to the downside. Similar to the last trade as well, this one also has 2 up close candles on this 15-minute area. In a downtrend, the up close candles hold price for a move to the downside. So with this in mind, let's play out this trade and let's see if we get a proper retest with weak price action. Just like that, you can see here, we are now getting that retest with weak price action right at this first candle strategy. We can look to go short on this position. Our stop loss in this example will simply be the up close candle, as we know that is what's holding price to the downside. And our profit target at low of day only gives us a 1.63 R multiple. We know we need at least a 2 R multiple. And in this example, we can do that at 322.50s. This gives us about a 2.24 risk to reward, which means for every $100 of risk, we would make $224. Let's enter into a short position here and let's see exactly what happens. We can see some buyers stepped up here. However, sellers brought it right back down, as we did have this up close candle here as well. We can see just like that, we were able to come back into that 2R multiple, and this was a $2,910 trade by understanding this setup. Right now, we're 3 days into the week. We've taken 2 winning trades, 1 day where we didn't take a trade at all, and now we're up a total of about $4,900. So let's go over to the next day and see if an opportunity presents itself. On this day, you can see we already drew out the 15-minute first candle. At this point, you should be able to identify exactly how to do that. And now all we have to do is move over to the 5-minute time frame. You can see this day, every single candle has been green, and therefore all we're looking for is a break above. We just got the break above that first candle, and we can see the 5-minute candle closing green as well. This is an extremely bullish day, and we can see that based off the 15-minute time frame and the 5-minute time frame. So on the 1-minute time frame, all we have to do now is look for that low risk pullback right into this area. Let's see if we can get that low risk pullback, and you can see right here we sell off. However, buyers are bringing the stock right back up on this green candle, showing that price action is still strong, and this is the exact level we need to hold. So we can look to go long on this position here. Our stop loss, because we don't really have a down close candle supporting price, is simply going to be a break back below into this next down close candle, which is at 944, and our profit target simply has to be at least a 2R multiple. In this example, that would happen near that 341 area. This would give us a 2.29 trade. Let's enter into a buy position here and let's see exactly what happens. This trade worked really well and moved to the upside. Now, of course, in this example, I am backtesting this trade, but I did take this exact same trade in real time in the accelerator where I live trade every single day. This trade right here was my biggest day trade in 2025. But the key here is it took me 7 years to get here. This was not a get rich quick trade. This took me years of perfecting my system to understand exactly how to trade this setup and then executing it in real time. And of course, I live trade in front of hundreds of traders every single day to help them learn the system and execute it in real time. And they were able to take the same trade and execute it as well in the accelerator. With this being said, this is day 4. We made $4,110. Let's flatten this position for a $9,000 week so far, but let's go over to the final day and then I will show you the full results for this full week. All right, so here we are on the last day. Now, of course, you can see the first day we didn't take any trades, second day we did, third day we did, and fourth day was yesterday. So now we are on the 5th day. On the 5th day, we can see a very strong bearish candle, and therefore we're going to mark out the 15-minute range once again. And at this point in the video, you already know we're going to the 5-minute time frame. We're looking for a break above or a break below. In this example, you can see buyers try to step up in this area, but this candle actually did end up closing below the 15-minute or the first candle. So now that we're on the 1-minute time frame, all we have to do is wait for a retest. Now, on this example, you can see on this retest, we didn't really get a big push down before the retest. And therefore, to actually enter this trade, I'm going to need a little bit more weaker price action, which just got confirmed here. And this just allows me to really have a high probability entry because this could be also consolidation before moving back up. And therefore, I want to make sure that I'm entering high probability trades. So to enter this trade, we would be looking for a short position. Our stop loss can simply be a break back above the previous 15-minute range, and we need at least a 2R multiple. In this example, that 2R multiple comes near that 341 whole psychological number. Let's enter into a short position here and let's see exactly what happens. Nice move down. You can see we hit our profit target for the downside. This was a 2R multiple on this trade, and this was a $2,130 trade by simply understanding how to use the first candle strategy. So if we look at the final results for this week, we only took 4 trades. This resulted in an $11,000 P&L. We traded for 5 days. We didn't take a trade on one day because the opportunity never presented itself. So if you want more information on this strategy and exactly how to start day trading from absolutely scratch, make sure to click the free playlist in the description. It will go over every trading concept I've learned in the last 7 years to help you see the markets like a professional trader. If this video helped you, make sure to leave it a like. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more education. Subscribe to the channel. I make educational trading videos every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I will see you next week with a brand new video.